Hello, my name's Ken and I've been building model boats for a while, and I thought I'd make a video on how I set up my table and my tools to make a model boat and how I set up my lights and my camera to video it. So that's what this video is about, and let's get started. Well, welcome back. This is Ken. It's time to start building another boat. This is typically where I set up my boat building equipment. As you can see, during the year I take it all down and pack it away, and I'm just about to set up another boat build, and I thought maybe I'd go through some of my tools and how I store them and which ones I use, and then that'll end this video, and I'll start another one on the actual build of my boat. So this is the place, like I said, where I set up. I'll move that chair out of the way, and all my boat equipment is over here, stored away in a couple of boxes. So this is where I stash all my stuff in this semi-unused corner. This is a box of leftover wood from which I purchased, and kits, and I got a few other doodads in there. This is mostly my tools here. Holy moly. Stuck in the rug. These are the tools. Maybe this is what I'll open up and we'll take a look at. Then back here are some various small cleats and small wood items and things like that. And then here's my airbrush and all my painting gear, which I'll leave back there for now because that always comes later. And then I have all my leftover paperwork. So let me set the tables up and we'll take a look at what I have. This is pretty much it. Down in the garage I have an airbrush booth I built and some sanding equipment and drilling. Nothing fancy, but I don't want to make all that dust up in this room. But this is the majority of what I use right here. Here we are with the table setup. Big one here and a small one over here for my tools, and sometimes I put another short one over here, but I don't think I'll need it for this boat. So I'll bring my tools over and we'll take a look at them. But you can see I got nice bright lights. It makes it nice for when I'm doing the video work. But you need at least one or two when you're doing the boat work as well. But it's a little lit up for when I'm doing my videos. So this is kind of all set to go, so let's bring some tools on and take a look at them. So let's start with this box I bought from Amazon. It was empty and I had a lot of leftover little things, rings and blocks and so forth that were laying around in my kit. And I had a hard time finding them and keeping track of them, and this box is a great organizer. So I put in here rings that I use for hatches and raising sails on the mast. These are the blocks, different kinds of wood, basswood and oak, single shiv, multiple shivs, and these are the dead eyes, small and larger, different sizes and different kinds of wood. Get some pins that I use and some stands for the boat and leftover fish and nails and parles used to raise the booms on the mast. And it's just a nice collect-all box, and slowly but surely I'll get more organized. Oh, I got one of these left over. And on the other side, it's got room here, and it's not very much in there, just some wire and a toothpicks and some lids, but it's been a very handy organizer. Now let's take a look at the wood box. So this is also another way I've collected things. Here's some leftover sails, some fishing net, boat stand. This is how I used to collect things. These are leftover nails and maybe some rings that I haven't stashed away in the other box. They kind of pop the lid every now and then, and they're hard to find. And I got a bunch of these little boxes that I'm slowly migrating over. Here's some nails. But mostly what's in here is wood, a sheet of, I think this is cherry wood and basswood and oak, and lots of dowels and kind of leftover stuff. Sometimes it's cut, but lots of this planking. I bought extra planking, there's leftover planking, and to keep it organized I have this nice long box, and that's how I keep track of the wood. Now my main toolbox is packed rather tightly, so it's not really organized by function, clamps and everything, but by size. So maybe I'll unpack some of that and show it to you. This is all my painting tape, Tamiya tape, and other kinds of tape. Here's a clamps. I got a variety of clamps in here. Whoa. More clamps, small clamps, large clamps, and then a variety of other tools. Let me put these up on the desk, and then we'll take a look at what's in here. So what I did is unpack kind of my big clamp box here, and I found these here used most of the time. These are awful strong. Every time you put these big heavy duty, I think I got 4 of them, on the boat, kind of crushes the wood, but they have a small place in my thing. I never did get good use out of these blue ones, but these small ones have been useful. And these clothespins, I've tried to use them. I've never had good use of those. And I have a couple of these small ones. They're the most useful. And I got these ones from India. They were very soft and kind of got a small mouth, but when you squeeze them together, they work really nice. So there's a whole set of these, and I can't recommend anybody go out and buy a bunch of clamps before they start. I just collected mine over time as I find they got a particular reach or a depth or a squeeze I needed, and I don't have the right tool for it. I'd go out and buy the tool, and this is a collection of over time. But my most used clamps are these smaller ones. I don't know why there's a brush in there. And I never used that one. But there's these kind of paper clips. Let me dump these out. Man can never have too many clamps. So here's this other one. These are kind of the small ones. And then these were, when you need them, they're useful. And usually when you're clamping a decking and stuff like that. And so I got a variety of sizes and strengths. You see them, some are in one box and some are another. And these littler ones, I think I have another box of small clamps that is used mostly of these. But you see, and then these have been quite useful too when I'm got a bent piece of wood I'm trying to keep in place while the glue dries. So there's a bunch of small clamps, and I can't say I need all of them. My wife's quite sure I don't need them all. But over time I've collected them, and there they are. Many of the heavier tools are at the bottom and the lighter tools are at the top, and the foam is an example of that. Sometimes work with the foam or lay my parts on the foam. There's a nice little device I bought over time for a keel, a thin keel and a thicker keel. You kind of put it in there. The keel clamper works just as well too, but there's items to deal with keels. Where's my keel clamper here? I'll get that up. Oh, this keel clamper was at the bottom. And you can buy that online, K-E-E-L, keel clamper. And then I bought some sheet metal from the local steel factory and bolted it on to the bottom and got some rubber legs. And that works pretty good. These open up, slide around, and clamp the keel. They only clamp a little bit, so they solve a lot of the problems in handling the keel, but not all of them. So these foam work as a complement. You know, a lot of people told me to use beeswax when I'm doing my rigging line, and I haven't used it very much. I bought line that was already kind of waxed up, but this stuff's getting old, so I don't know if I need to buy new or maybe heat it up and it'll remelt, become soft again. But there's beeswax that I use when I'm doing my rigging, and I haven't used it that much. And speaking of which, here's kind of where, I showed you already, I put a lot of my tape in here. Yellow tape for masking paint, and these, I guess this is mostly masking. I've got the blue tape, but I use that for masking as well. And then when it comes to my sewing kit, I think most of my sewing kit is in here. Here's some sails. I don't know what that is. I haven't got my glasses on. Lots of thread. I ended up buying thread on my own here, as opposed to what was given to me in the kits. Sometimes the kits aren't good. A nice clear pair of needles. Some of these came in the kits. Some of these come from my wife's sewing kit, and I got scissors and clamps and all kinds of things in here. But anyway, I try to keep all my sewing together, and it's just, I bought some as I needed it, and this is the collection. So usually most kits come with all that you need for sewing, and then if you don't like the thread, you might go buy some. It takes a little while for shipping, and but there it is. And then over here I have my files. I actually bought 2 sets because the ones are starting to wear out, and I don't know why, but I bought them. They were on sale, I think. And you got a flat one with an oval shape, and here's a same one, I think. And then this is from my toolkit downstairs in my automotives, and round and squares and large and small. I think this is a round small, and this is one of these is a round larger diameter for hole making. And this one's triangular, and that's what it is. And this is a larger triangle. Then I get the square one. Square holes sometimes are handy, and so I got two squares, one large. I don't know where the other one is. Maybe there's only one square. But anyway, I use a lot of filing, and this is a must-have. And then next on the list is a micrometer. This also is a must-have, or is very handy, let's put it that way. You can certainly build without one of these. I did for a long time, but now I find it's most useful. And I find the batteries don't last from year to year. And I don't know if this one's any good or not. It probably just loses its power just sitting in the box. But that helps you measure what size wood you have. I took the battery out, so it's not plugged. There's no power to it. So maybe I'll buy a new LR44 or whatever they're using these days. And that's very handy. And then I sometimes have a hard time seeing old parts. So I bought this Optivisor. And I only use one strength. I think this is 1.5, the lens. And you put that on over your head, and then I wear some strong reading glasses, and then this goes over the reading glasses, and it doubles it, so I can see some very small detail. Sometimes I try to sand stuff to 0.1 millimeters, and there's no way I could see that without help. And drilling is a needed skill as well, so I've ended up buying several kinds of drills. I have some Dremel drills, and I bought these little hand drills that you have the individual bits in, and you mount them in this. But I found that I even need better or more finer drills, so I bought a set of these, and this is 0.6 mils, 0.7 mils, 0.8, 0.9. And I find these are most useful. They also go into this little bit as well. Let me open up one of these. And you can see that these tiny drills have a tendency to break. You can see this one here. Hope you can see that. Let me zoom in a little bit. Hope you can see that this one here is a little bit shorter than that one. I only got two of these 0.7s left. So the ones that are semi-broken like this, I try to save. Some of them are broken. I'll probably just throw those away, and then they got a handful left. But I might have to buy another set of these. They come as a set. You just can't buy one or two. So drilling is drill bits. And then I have, like I say, the Dremel set. And I got a set of Dremel tools downstairs. I don't know if I'll go through them or not. And X-Acto blades are a next necessary thing. I've gone through a lot of blades, and I got an extra knife somewhere else. Doesn't fit in this kit. But I ended up buying a 120 pack of these number 2 because they break and they grow dull. And I've practiced on sharpening them, but sometimes it's just easier to use new ones. And here's these square ones. I bought a little pack, 10 or something like that. And then I got a couple of knives. Like I say, I got a bigger one of these somewhere else buried into there. And so I have a collection of those. These here are all used. I don't know if I should throw them away or what, but they store nice and they all stay contained in this little kit. Whoa, hold on. I recently acquired these chisels. Micromark is a spot where I get many of these things, and I've only used one or two, but I found the one or two I use where they're kind of beveled. Let's pull it out and see if you can see that or not. They're beveled on one side, and they're good for taking glue off or carving up a little bit of wood or something like that. I found them useful. Like I say, I only use one or two, but they're handy and they come as a kit. Another thing that's handy is a fine razor saw. I got a couple of these. I think this one's getting old. I don't know if I want to sharpen it or not. It's not like I just buy a new one. They didn't used to be expensive, but the price of all these tools are going up now. So sometimes when I like them, I'll buy a couple, just keep them spare and keep the price low. So I use a saw like that, a hand saw. And then I got a set of metric tools so I can measure and draw straight lines and so forth like that. It's handy to have. And of course this little 4-ounce hammer has been very useful. You know, I use my big nailing hammer, but it's so big that when it strikes it breaks things. This is an easy way to tap things in. So I've used that quite a bit. And then I got a clamp, a vise. And it's been very handy. Again, I went down to the steel mill and bought a plate and screwed this to the plate and put rubber legs on it. So now, and if you tighten it up good and tight, it becomes like a rock, and that's a good third hand. And then I have a series of these pliers. They're not all pliers, but I keep them all in there to keep it neat. I haven't used these too much. They kind of come as a kit, and maybe someday I'll use them or what, but like here's a pair of clippers, dikes, but I find these red ones work just as well. But they came with this nice stand, so I've used these bent ones to grab things very nice. Needle nose pliers, round pliers for bending things. Now this one is a very interesting one, a nail puller. A nail pusher. What you do is there's a little hole in here. It's kind of hard to show, and I'm not going to spend too much time. But you grab the nail and you push it into the wood. And this is very useful for doing your 2-layer planking, laying your first layer. You grab the nail and it pushes in with very nice even force, and you don't have to pound it or get things bent. But the nail sticks out a little bit, and then when the first layer is dry, you pull the nail out. It leaves a little hole there, but since it's the first layer, you put a second layer over it. And this is one way to put planking on with a nail pusher. And if you're going to use a nail pusher, Micromark had these. They were very nice. I bought a series of nylon pliers. I used electrical tape as well. That seems to work as well, but the professional ones are getting worn out. And what is this? Just another pair of needle nose and then a pair of cutters. A nice little stand, and then these are all kind of spare over here. And then this is my plank bender. I use this occasionally. It's of all the plank bending, this one's as useful as any of them. You use 1 or 3 of these, kind of clamp them together, get your iron good and hot, get your wood good and wet, and then when you put this hot steaming iron on the wood, you can make a sharp bend or a soft bend or something like that. Here's your plank holder. And I use this occasionally. I have several bending techniques. This is one. I've never gotten into those cutters that cut the wood and bend it. I bought one. I never could make them work. So here's what's left in my box. Here's some squares. Let me see. Yeah. Here's some squares. I use them occasionally. I'm not sure these are the best squares, but a square is a real handy thing to have, and there's a variety of them out there. Then I got a series of glues. I've got Elmer's wood glue, Elmer's glue. Oh, here's some more X-Acto blades. I don't know why they're in there. And then I got some Mod Podge. This was good for putting labels on. And then I have some super glue here, but this is getting old. And sometimes the older glue just seems to go dry, takes too long to dry. I don't know. And so I'll probably buy a new set of super glue. I use that. I got a scribe. And that helps you mark the water line of a boat. You kind of go around the boat like that. You got to have the table flat though. If the table's not flat, then you kind of get wobbly on your boat. So you got to find a nice flat surface or hold it steady and rotate your boat around it. But I did several handmade ones, but I decided to buy one, and that's a useful tool as well. I've got these extra hands. I use these mostly when I'm seizing the line on blocks and on dead eyes. That and my other vise over here, and that kind of holds it tight, and then I can wrap stuff around here. But other than that, I haven't really found too much of a use for those. And that's more glue, more wire. What are these things? That's just an empty box. Oh, space. Oh, no, these are my Sailormen that I never painted. And I got a whole host of series of tweezers. These tweezers kind of look rusty and painted. Maybe I'll sand them off. Here's my 2 more X-Acto blades. That's handy. Oh, and I found these pretty easy. These handy. These are some Japanese, I don't know what you call them. But these are these metal rods that have different diameters, and you can bend wire around them. I don't know. And they go all the way down to some really low, small millimeter. Even smaller than that. I've used that occasionally. And this was something I've never used, but it seemed like I could squeeze some odd shaped part together so I could work on it. Sometimes when you have to hold a piece and sand or file a hole in there that's bouncing around, this will hold it tight. I thought I was going to use it and I never did, but I still think it's going to be useful. Then over here, this is my brand new saw. This is the clamp that bends wood. And I could never make it work. A couple more clamps here. Drill bits. Well, I've been using my plane. I got a little mini plane. Mini plane is good occasionally, not very often. Here's my other file set. There's some super glue. I don't know if this is good or not. Maybe I won't buy one until I try this out. And I got a little mini clamp with a suction on it. I never had good work with that. I like that bigger one with a steel base. This one's kind of hokey. Nothing wrong with it, it's just not as good as the other one. And then more clamps. Here's the old style nail pusher that just never did work for me. It just pushes the nail in, but it's got a lot of loose sloppiness in it, and I kept marking the wood. And I think that's here's a pair of precision scissors. This is my box of kind of lightly used stuff in case something breaks. I know I got some spares here. So that's pretty much all the tools. Oh, downstairs I have a box full of sandpaper that I use, and like I said, I have a Dremel kit that has a drill press and a hand saw and stuff like that in it. So that's my tool set. Most of my tools sit in this box here, under the table over here, and I only bring out the tools that are useful. So my next boat, which I'm going to start shortly, we'll start with planking, working on the keel and laying some planks. So I don't need all the painting gear, I don't need the tapes. I might use a lot of clamps, I'll probably use some saws, I don't know. And so then as I go along in the building of the boat and I start putting rigging up, I'll put some of those tools away and bring out the others. And so this is kind of my bin. And half of these tools stay out all the time, and the other half kind of rotate in and out as I need them. So I hope that was useful to you. Let me know in the comments if you like this. It's a beginning of the next boat building season. I've got my boat on the shelf. There it is in this package. I haven't opened it up and looked at it yet. This is going to be a simple little day sailor fishing boat. I forget what I bought. But there it is. And so I will clean up my mess here and do a few things around the house, and then I'll start seriously working on my boat. Hopefully done by Christmas. You never know. All right, so God bless. Have fun. Hope you guys are building your boats and enjoying this. I certainly am. I'll see you in a month or so. Bye-bye.